Why do we love playing sports video games so much? The reason for this is that they manage to express the excitement, intensity, and adrenaline of athletics that we may not encounter in real life. Especially with virtual reality sports games, we can experience the thrill of being an athlete without ever leaving the comforts of our own homes. And with this, you can be an athlete of any sport, whatever you like: soccer, NFL, tennis, or even extreme sports. Virtual reality technology has given sports gaming a whole new dimension. Let's be honest, graphics in virtual reality sports games may not always be as realistic as in traditional games. But the immersive experience and ambiance that VR offers lets players enter a whole new universe. The feeling of being in the game makes the experience feel extremely real, even though the graphics might appear less polished. We'll look at the evolution of sports VR video games today, from the earliest pioneering titles to the most recent immersive experiences, and how this technology has changed how we watch and play sports in the virtual world. Although the idea of virtual reality and video games dates back to the early 1990s, the technology at the time was not developed enough to fulfill the developers' expectations. VR sports games were first introduced with clumsy, low-resolution graphics and little interaction. Virtuality's VR Soccer, which was played on the Virtuality arcade system in the mid-1990s, was among the first noteworthy game. Though revolutionary at the time, the experience was not at all what players were expecting from virtual reality today. It had limited movement because of the enormous headset it employed, and even by 1990s standards, the graphics were primitive. But it was just the beginning. Because the technology was just not ready to produce immersive experiences, the early 2000s saw an overall drop in the enthusiasm around virtual reality. But in the following 10 years, developments in technology and software would completely change that. With the release of the Oculus Rift in 2012 and the subsequent release of gadgets like the HTC Vive and PlayStation VR, virtual reality began to gain popularity yet again. Creating sports VR games has gained fresh traction because of this change. Players may now move, engage, and completely submerge themselves in a virtual world without being limited by basic controllers. Sports Bar VR was one of the first popular VR sports games that brought in players. The game was developed in 2016 by Cherry Pop Games, an indie studio. It was not sports-specific, although it offered a range of classic bar games, including activities like air hockey, darts, and pool. A preview of what virtual reality might provide the sports industry was given by the physics and lifelike settings. Soon after, developers began creating VR games that simulated real sports experiences, like VR Sports Challenge, also in 2016 by Sanzaru Games. This title enabled players to step into the shoes of athletes in football, basketball, and hockey, simulating the excitement of competition with VR's unique immersion. The ability to physically throw a football, block shots in basketball, or handle a hockey stick made the player feel like they were truly part of the action. While there have been a lot of amazing VR sports games, a few stand out for their uniqueness and the way they changed the genre. And let's start with... Released in 2016, 11 Table Tennis is widely regarded as one of the most precise and realistic sports VR games ever made. Developed by 4Fun Labs, the game offers near-perfect physics that replicates the real-life dynamics of table tennis. Professional table tennis players agreed that the game feels remarkably similar to actual sports. The ability to perform accurate spins, smashes, and gentle flicks gives the impression that you are playing an actual game. The careful consideration to detail in the gaming mechanics of 11 Table Tennis is what makes it unique. Players may train, play rated matches, and even challenge other players online, making it more than simply a fun VR sports experience. This helps build a community of table tennis fans within the VR environment. Unlike many traditional table tennis games, 11 Table Tennis leverages VR technology to offer highly precise control over the paddle and ball. The game is known for its realistic ball physics, including accurate spin and bounce behavior. This attention to detail sets it apart from other table tennis games that may not capture these nuances as effectively. The sound design includes authentic table tennis sounds such as the ping of the ball and the swish of the paddle. These sound effects contribute to the realism and immersion of the game. Even though the virtual world of 11 Tennis may not appear particularly realistic, it remains a popular sports game among enthusiasts as of 2016 and beyond. Let's continue with... A top-notch boxing simulation is Thrill of the Fight. Thrill of the Fight has an intense focus on simulating boxing in a highly realistic manner. The use of VR motion controllers by players to block, dodge, and throw punches makes the game feel more realistic and physically engaging. The game requires players to control their energy levels and keep up a realistic boxing pace because it includes elements of physical endurance and stamina. This gives the boxing game a level of depth and realism that is uncommon in many other games. A comprehensive practice mode where players can work on their deflection, footwork, and punching techniques. Players can enhance their techniques and better prepare for in-game contests by putting more of their focus on training. Although the graphics in the game aren't quite as realistic as those in the upcoming game Thrills of Fight, they are nonetheless pretty realistic for 2016 and feature realistic boxing surroundings and lifelike character models. And talking about the boxing simulation, we can't go without Creed. Based on the cult film franchise Rocky, the narrative centers on Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed, an iconic character in the Rocky movie. Creed: Rise to Glory, released in 2018 by Survios. In the game, players of the virtual reality boxing game play the role of Adonis Creed. The realistic motion tracking and immersive features of Creed: Rise to Glory set the game unique. The game is a combination of sports entertainment and a fitness challenge, so we can say that it's both a workout and a game. Its ability to replicate the fatigue and movements of an actual fight is crucial to its effectiveness. Survios refers to this technology as phantom melee technology, which allows players to experience the effects of punches and the wariness that comes from numerous hits. In contrast to previous boxing games, Creed offers a full-body experience where players can move and maneuver in real time, just like they would in a real boxing ring. Yep, sometimes this also happens. Engaging in a career mode allows players to advance through the ranks by facing different opponents, which gives the gaming more depth and duration. The game utilizes dynamic lighting and visual effects to enhance the atmosphere of the boxing matches, making the experience feel more vivid and engaging. Sound design includes realistic audio effects such as the sound of punches, crowd reactions, and ambient noise, which contribute to the immersion. And a very exciting thing that the game has is featuring voice work from actors reprising their roles from the Creed films. The game includes familiar voices and dialogue that enhance the connection to the movie franchise. Created by Craneballs Studios in 2018, which is known for creating engaging and polished VR experiences, and Golf VR is a notable entry in their lineup. Compared to traditional golf games that use typical controllers, Golf VR offers a more accurate experience by simulating the real-life golf swing with VR motion controllers. Golfers imitate the physical movements of the game by driving, chipping, and putting with their entire range of motion. With the game's interactive surroundings, players may alter their swing and control the trajectory of the golf ball in relation to several environmental elements, including wind and geography. This gives the gameplay more depth and authenticity. The game includes calming background noises like wind rustling and birds tweeting, which add to the tranquil mood of the playing area and make the experience more immersive. We agree with certainty that those mentioned virtual reality sports games are among the finest nowadays. By the 2020s, virtual reality sports games had developed into a major fitness trend, going beyond simply replicating sports in the real world. Playing games like the Thrill of the Fight and Beat Saber, which is more of a rhythm game, encouraged players to move more than typical video games would. This combination of exercise and gaming gained popularity during the COVID-19 pandemic, when people were looking for indoor activities to keep them active. The current wave of VR sports games shows how the genre has developed past light entertainment and now intersects with fitness and health. Virtual reality sports games have evolved into engaging workout routines that offer a fun approach to maintain your health. So, what's next for VR sports games? The future appears to hold a lot of promise. Future VR games will be more immersive and more engaging than ever thanks to improvements in motion tracking and wireless headgear like Oculus Quest, which rids the users from wires. With full-body tracking, every motion you make on the field is precisely mirrored in the virtual world, or haptic feedback suits that enable you to experience each kick, hit, or pass firsthand. We've already seen signs of this in games like Echo Arena, which combines parts of soccer and ultimate frisbee in zero gravity. However, in the near future, people from all over the world may compete in virtual stadiums, making multiplayer sports arenas much more involved. The development of incredibly lifelike virtual stadiums and arenas for sports is made possible by the metaverse. Gamers can explore completely new fantasy settings or watching sporting events in digitally generated settings that mimic actual ones. Sports games become more realistic and engaging at this level of participation. No doubt, virtual reality sports games have a bright future ahead of them. A new generation of very realistic and complex video games is emerging as AI and technology advances. This means that fans of sports are in for an increasing number of engaging experiences. Soon, you might even have the chance to not only engage in virtual sports, but to compete as world or Olympic champions in a dynamic digital realm. The world of VR sports is expanding, and the best is yet to come.